All right, thanks for joining us, everybody. We're going to go ahead and get started. First question for Coach Sumlin will be Michael Lev, Arizona Daily Star.
Hey there, Kevin.
Hey, Mike.
Let's just jump straight to the main course here. What is Grant's status for practice and for the game on Saturday?
We're still evaluating that. Okay, so we'll see where he is. If he can go, he can go. If not, I think it's too early to even talk about that.
Did he have any sort of structural damage to the shoulder?
I'm not going to go specifically on where he is right now, but he wants to play, but we're gonna he and his family in our conversations and with our medical team, we're going to do the best thing for him in his career. So we'll see where he is.
Upon further review, what did you think of Will Plummer's performance against UCLA?
Well, for a guy that didn't even get a chance to warm up because, Grant walked off the field, didn't have, and didn't have a chance to throw a football or do anything for a guy that has never played at this level to go out there and do what he did was, I thought it was a pretty good performance. Could he have been better? Yeah, there's mistakes he made. He made plays with his legs. But certainly with one play notice, 20-second notice, get in there and do what he did. I think he performed at the way he's performed during practice. And the two picks, not necessarily his fault. We had routes that on the late one that guys broke off, and he was anticipating something, but trying to get the ball downfield. He got hit a bunch, but he's a tough guy, and he moved the chains.
Next question, David Kelly, KVOA.
Hey, Kevin. In terms of what we saw from Drew Dixon in that ball game, how do you categorize, I guess, his emergence from that standpoint? Is it as simple as maybe there's a chemistry between him and Will, or is there more to it than that?
There's more to it than that. He played 70-some plays the week before, didn't play the first game because of some other issues. Played 70-some plays the week before, and nobody knew he was on the field. Did not start the game last Saturday night, so that might have had something to do with his performance.
And I guess in terms of your challenge protocol, how much more can you elaborate on how that system works within your team and how you guys go about making those decisions?
What's that?
In terms of your challenge protocol.
What do you mean? What is that?
When you guys are deciding when to challenge a play, how much more can you elaborate on how that works within your system?
Well, yeah, just because that's up to me for the challenge and calling timeouts and doing things. And, to answer your question, David and Mike, the answer from the league was that was not a fumble. That was their reply to me today.
Did they say why?
Just said no.
No.
Next question, Justin Spears, Arizona Daily Star.
Coach, last week you had a handful of defensive backs opt out for the season. How detrimental is that, considering you guys were already slim?
What do you mean a handful of guys opt out?
Well, I mean, weren't there at least 4 guys opt out for the season? Or
no, there were guys that were injured.
Okay. So the reason why they're opting out is for injury?
Yeah, we didn't have a handful of guys opt out. We had a handful of guys that were injured in our secondary.
Okay. Well, Bobby Wolf posted on Instagram that he is opting out. What's the status for him?
Well, we'll see where that is. We've had guys who said they've opted out, and then you've seen them play. So we'll see where they are this week.
And then going back to David's question about Drew Dixon and kind of emergence of receivers, Stanley Berryhill has been a bright spot for you guys. I think Pro Football Focus listed him as one of the top receivers in the Pac-12 just this past week. How do you assess his emergence over the last couple of weeks?
Well, we've assessed his emergence since we've been here because we gave him a scholarship. He's a walk-on. So you know where we stand with Stanley.
Next question, Rich Herrera, Wildcats Radio 1290.
Good afternoon, Coach. A couple things for you following up on the game from Saturday. You have an update on Cunningham's injury, his shoulder, where he came out of the game?
No, I do not.
Okay. Defensively, can you talk about your team's ability to set the edge when teams start trying to run wide on you after they don't have much success up the middle?
Yeah, well, I thought, Chip made a adjustment to get to the edge. And, I thought that our defensive staff did a pretty good job of in the second half or at halftime of making adjustments to make it more difficult. Obviously, they had that same success against Oregon the week before with an unbalanced attack, but they came with a different attack like they do every week. We adjusted and were able to get them off the field 3 or 4 times in the second half, particularly in the third quarter, to get back in the game. So, that's a cat and mouse game that goes on every Saturday night.
Were there any other things that you made adjustments or you saw differently after you watched the film? First half or second half?
Yeah, when you lose all the time. I mean, when you're behind, of course. So, yes.
I mean, second half, it seemed like the defense got a lot more stouter. They got a lot more 3-and-outs. Anthony Pandy, after the game, said that at halftime, they talked about doing a better job of tackling. Was there anything else that you saw in the film?
Yeah, I mean, structurally, we changed a little bit at halftime to help that. But even with that, we missed too many tackles, and that's something that is a work in progress. But I think structurally, the adjustment at halftime, it helped us to get more people to the ball, and it's not just setting an edge, but it's the people inside that from inside out that can. After you set that edge, it's running to the ball and guys that get free by angles and blocking.
On the offensive side of the ball, something we were talking about in the postgame show, the adjustments and the work you guys are doing, it seems like teams are you're facing quite a bit of man press coverage and the wide receivers trying to get off the line of scrimmage. What kind of work are you doing on helping them or getting them to make those adjustments to get off the line of scrimmage clean?
Yeah, we're going to help them with. I think you've seen a lot of bunch sets, cluster sets, things that force people to do things a little bit differently, and to help those guys. But certainly, everything works together. The timing, protection. As I said before, you've seen a lot more cluster sets out of us this year because of the man coverage.
One last thing. Sorry for taking so much time, everybody. But Coach, if I can just get you to comment, give me 2 separate comments for the radio pre and post game show about the Colorado offense, and then separately about the Colorado defense.
Well, Carl has done a really good job. He has maintained some continuity, with the offensive and defensive coordinators, but put his stamp on it because they're different offensively. Carl's been around a lot. He's been a head coach before. He's been in the NFL, for years. Has done a great job wherever he's been. And defensively, they've changed. I think they've gone back really the coach has gone back to his roots as a defensive coordinator, being at Georgia and a lot more pressure, a lot more man-to-man, a little different style, so, defensively, they're playing at a high level. I mean, they're second in the league in total defense right now, and second in run defense. So they're they're doing a lot of different things that they did last year, and bringing a lot more pressure. So, they're playing, defensively, pretty stout, and I think everybody's seen that.
And on the offensive side of the ball?
Yeah, I just talked about it. I mean, they've been able to move the ball. They've been able to score. They've got playmakers. They're young, but they've got playmakers. A lot of guys. Broussard, you've known, since his days in high school, and he and Chenault's little brother. But they've got older guys that have played a bunch, but not necessarily starters for them, but have played a bunch of football. So, they're in a good place right now. Obviously with the way they've been winning.
Thank you very much, Coach.
You bet.
Next question, Michael Lev.
I don't know if opt-out is the right term to use, but according to our reporting and some of their own declarations, Christian Young, Bobby Wolf, Malik Hausman, and Mackenzie Barnes are no longer with the team. Is that true?
Yeah, some guys were hurt, and some guys have opted out.
Okay.
But as I've said before, Mike, we've had guys that have gone on social media and said that, and then you've seen them play the next Saturday, right?
Okay.
So there's been a lot of reactionary stuff it's 2020, right? So there's been a lot of reactionary things from the beginning, even from this summer, where guys have been on social media and said they've opted out, and then you've seen them play. So, you deal with emotions all the time in this business with young guys, and it remains to be seen. I'll just put it that way.
Okay, with a guy like Bobby Wolf, why would you dress him on Saturday but then not play him?
Yeah, that's he. There were some other issues before that made his. He wasn't available to play before Saturday night. So, because of some other issues that have happened, I'll just put it that way. Does that make sense?
It does, yeah. As a result,
and that it had nothing to do with football. It's some other things that off the field issues. So he dressed for the first time this week.
Okay. As a result of all that, Lorenzo Burns and Christian Rowland Wallace are playing virtually every snap. What kind of example are those guys setting for the defense?
Well, Lorenzo Burns has been phenomenal. I mean, and whatever you need him to do, he does it. Special teams wise, as a corner, it's. I mean, he is giving it his all, and and so is Zero. So those guys are playing a lot. They understand the situation. We've got confidence in those guys, and as we said before, we need more guys to help them. And it's our job to get those guys in here to make sure that we have confidence in who those backups are. And so but those guys are they get challenged every week, and they respond. And I think our team sees that, everybody sees that, and those guys are playing their tails off right now.
And one last thing, it's kind of the same question I asked last week, but what did you see out of the offensive line, and do you anticipate making any personnel changes there?
Yeah, I would say that with Jordan, where he is physically, Morgan, I would anticipate some changes, after the last couple of weeks, just because of, where we are with where he is physically. So, we had that discussion yesterday and this morning just about getting the right people on the field and where they should be. So, yeah, I would anticipate some changes there.
Do you think Jordan could be back this week?
Possibly. We'll know probably middle of the week.
Thank you.
Next question, David Kelly.
Coach, in terms of Christian Rowland Wallace, how would you describe his football intelligence? It just appears at times that he's, almost quarterbacking the defense out there and making sure that that guys are in the positions that they're supposed to be?
Well, now I it's kind of hard to do that at corner, right? Because you're stuck out there on an island, and that's not a job for everybody here, right? You just and then it's like a lot of things, right? It's it's if you're doing your job, you don't get a lot of credit. If you don't, and they catch balls, then that's when you're on highlight films, right? So he's got his own deal, but he is making sure that he is in the right place. He's communicating, which is a lot better than last year when he was just out there playing. I think what you're seeing is him communicating with the rest of the secondary. And, Lorenzo is always drawn the best guy, Burns, and then everybody's motioning, trying to get on Ciro, which you've seen him challenge him a bunch every week. And he's made plays. So it's more, I would say the communication is between the safeties and him. I thought, Reddy Short and Jackson, just to get lined up and where they were last week because of all the unbalance, all the motion, everything else, when to go with them, when not to try to change it up, which you guys saw in the second half, becomes important. And as a corner, when you're out there by the numbers and the ball's on the other hash, it's hard for you to communicate, but these guys are doing a pretty good job of communicating, right now. We gave up 21 points on short fields last week, and really 3 big plays, but that communication defensively, particularly in the second half, was very important to keep us in the game.
And in terms of wide receiver blocking, if a run play is designed to go to the right, how long are the receivers on the opposite side supposed to hold their blocks? Is that
Well, it depends on what the scheme is, because we run a lot of RPOs, right? And so not just front side, where the play is, but you saw it like the short post that Drew Dixon caught, that was off of RPO, right? And balls being play fake in one way. There's a conflict player, whether it's in line, second level or third level, quarterback's reading that and throwing the ball back there. So you give up some things on the backside of the run from RPO standpoint, but there's also some advantage to being able to throw the ball back there and when guys are committed to the run to the front side.
Next question, Jason Barr, K-Gun.
Coach, it seemed like it was important to the players to have their family members at the games, as you mentioned a couple of weeks ago, that they haven't been able to see them and go home. Does that mean it's a big deal to them and disappointing that their family members can't be there for the next couple of weeks as cases spike?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's that's a tough deal. But we've been on the road the last 2 weeks, and no one's been at the game, right? So they understand that. They understand how fortunate we were to have them 3 weeks ago. But at this point, with what this team has done, what our administration's done, what our doctors have done, they understand the importance of the health and safety. And, the communication with the parents has been, we've talked with them. We've sent them notice early. Is everybody disappointed? Yeah. But, our guys understand to play football right now. And I think our parents do as well. At this point, it's a no-go with what's going on, not just here in Pima County, but around the country. So, we've been to 2 empty stadiums at this point without parents anywhere. And we were really fortunate 3 weeks ago to have the parents here for both teams. So they get that. They've sacrificed, and players have over Thanksgiving, parents have over Thanksgiving. So is it disappointing? Yeah, but to play the game, they understand that.
Can you say if Grant's shoulder is bruised, separated, or dislocated? And
I
what
said
the-
we'll evaluate it and we'll go from there.
Well, he's been evaluated by now, no? If you don't want to say because you think it's a competitive advantage or disadvantage.
No, it's college football. I don't have to say.
We have time for one more question for Coach. We'll go to Justin Spears.
When did you first cross paths with Carl Durrell?
Over the course of time, we've known each other at different places, and he's had, he's been a head coach, and been in the NFL for a long time. So, it's obviously he's doing a really good job, as I said, with keeping and some continuity there, but putting his stamp on the program. And it was a long time coming after his stint at UCLA with his journey through the NFL, but obviously he's doing a great job at Colorado right now.
And last year, your oldest son went through the high school football playoffs at South Point and went through the open division. What's it like seeing your other son go through it this year?
Yeah, he's we were talking last night late, that's a big game this week. And I got to be careful what I say because of who they're playing, right?
Sure.
But they're excited for this weekend, and we'll see what happens. Eric's done a great job in his first year. They've in a crazy time, but obviously we have some interest over there because we've got player committed to us from there. So, but I got to be careful what names, and during this time, I can't just talk about, what names and everything else, but obviously they're excited to play this weekend, and it's a big one.
Thanks, Coach.
All right. Thank you, everybody. That's all we have for today.